And we're back. Welcome to episode 3 of the Sage's Nook podcast. My name is Tom. You might know me as the Adventure Sage. This is my brother Mitch, and we are here to talk about anything and everything D&D.
What up?
We are two longtime DMs. And we're here to yap. We both got beers. We're feeling good on a Saturday night. So let's get going.
Feeling
What's up?
good on a Saturday night. Nothing. Just want to talk about some Dungeons and fucking Dragons.
There we go. That's all we need. That's all the world needs, to be honest. A little more D&D.
I've been waiting for this podcast. I'm excited.
Me too.
I love
It's
fucking
one
talking.
of my favorite things of the week. We just yap about D&D. If you didn't know, we're two brothers, literal brothers, located across the country from each other. So this is one way that we get our talking out is on this podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's get into it. Oh, first things first. Like I said, this is episode 3, so we have a little bit of context in the previous episodes. Mitch has something to say.
Yes. Okay. I have an announcement for everyone out there in the world. It's time for me to eat some humble pie and, face my own mistakes head on. Last week I talked about how powerful a certain spell was that I used in one of my sessions, and I want you to know that I'm very regretful for the mistakes I made. The jump spell does not work the way I used it. I'm a fucking cheater. I was using it to jump around 180 feet in a round. It lets you jump once. So I'll eat a piece of humble pie. I'm fucking stupid and didn't read the whole spell. Dungeon masters can make mistakes.
Hey, look, we're all learning, all right? The new rules just came out. We're all learning. You got to give your players, you got to give your DMs a little grace. There's been some weird little changes here and there. There's been things that are just completely new. Did Mitch completely just obliterate my entire session because he was cheating technically? Maybe. Yeah. So if you were looking at facts, you would say yes. But that is neither here nor there.
Yeah, and, if my character somehow dies in a landslide or, has a heart attack in the middle of the night and I can't play anymore, I understand. My character was basically...
will not be waking up to see another day. That's all I can say.
My character it was basically a main character anime moment where he uses the rest of his life force and energy for jumping around the map for 2 hours, cheating basically in the anime, and now he's going to collapse and die.
You win some, you lose some. And you guys you guys honestly pretty much lost that session, if not for a few key moments. If you listen to our second episode, all right, first off, if you are tuning into our third episode and you haven't listened to episode 2, why don't you turn this off, go to episode 2. And if you're listening to episode 2 and you haven't listened to episode 1, why don't you turn that off and go listen to episode 1?
Or listen to this episode and be a fucking idiot.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can listen to this episode if you want. But you're only going to miss so much context. This is a narrative continuation.
It's,
all right, this podcast is a story.
It's our ongoing conversations. We don't, maybe sometimes we will, but we don't necessarily really talk about like current events. We just talk about like our Dungeons and Dragons shit that's going on. So it doesn't really matter if you watch it in order. It doesn't really matter because it's gonna make sense because our conversations are gonna flow. It's not like we're gonna be talking about like some crazy outside life event that will date the podcast. No,
we're here for D&D.
Yeah.
So thank you for apologizing, Mitch. Thank you for eating your shorts.
Yeah, I understand. I committed a mortal D&D crime. I cast a spell wrong and used it wrong for a whole session.
And you didn't read it. And it's one thing to cast a spell wrong. It's another thing to not even read the whole spell.
I'm disappointed in myself, and I hope I can morally recover. The actual dungeon gods, they gave me my life sentence today. And, it's deserved. It's deserved. You guys won't see me next week. It starts in 3 days from now.
100 years in the gulag.
Yep, 100 years. I actually have to spend 100 years in My Little Pony themed campaign. Roleplay My Little Pony themed campaign for the rest of my life. I'm doomed for that. So hopefully I can pay my penance. Maybe we'll do really well in the campaign. I'll get out a couple years early. Who knows?
It's My Little Pony Descent into Avernus.
My Little Pony Descent into Avernus. Dude, but like a Care Bears game session, I'd play that shit.
Dude,
Teletubbies.
Dude, a Care Bear session. That would be sick.
Dude, I'm the pink one. I'm gonna be the pink one.
That'd be sick. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, let's just think of some fucking crazy campaign setting ideas.
Well, the Care Bear thing has been done, and realistically, the My Little Pony thing has been done too. What other settings? There's like a, what's it called? Is it like a Wardlings? A Wardlings? I see minis for that all the time. I don't know.
I think that's for like Pathfinder or something. I don't know.
I don't know how to play Pathfinder. I only know how to play D&D. You know, okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to, okay. That's a good topic to kind of get on an actual subject. So I make TikTok videos. I try to post every day. It doesn't usually happen, but I try to post every day. I'll be like walk in and just basically rambling about my inner thoughts of D&D. Some things I'm just telling stories. Sometimes I'm saying, hey, this is a cool thing that I tried. You should try it too if you want to do this. One of the things was, hey, I just completed a high level campaign. Literally, it spanned over 2 years, 69 sessions. Nice. And took them all to level 20, and they spent a good amount of time in that high level tier of play. That took years off my life as a DM. They had so many magic items. They were literally borderline invincible at this point. They had unlimited money just because, you know, they found a dragon's hoard and stuff like that. So I made this video saying like, hey, if you want to have a really long form campaign, but you don't want to go all the way up to the insanity of high level D&D, but you still want your players to progress, consider just giving them feats at certain milestones. Like instead of giving them a whole level, just give them a feat. That way they can expand their repertoire. They can still take an ASI or something like that, but they're not gaining access to those world-bending features. And there were a number of comments that were like, damn, bro's doing anything he can to just change the rules of D&D. Why don't you just try another system? All right, I'm not learning another fucking system. I want to play D&D. Just because I want to change the rules doesn't mean I'm going to make myself and all of my players learn a whole new system just because I don't like a certain thing about the game that I already know how to play.
Yeah, dude, like, you know, I just want to like maybe like change some things about it, you know, like just maybe make progression a little slower or something, you know, don't change the whole system. I'm not going to change my whole fucking system and all of my friends' system, make them learn all this new shit for a system, tabletop RPG that 3 fucking people play in one of the random game shops in fucking Canada. Oh, like fucking some weird ass system no one's ever fucking heard of. No, Dungeons & Dragons is the biggest one for a reason. It's the best. It's the most moldable.
Yeah, I'm not rewriting the entire way that I work in my campaigns just because I don't like one thing about it. And it's not even that I don't like it. I like high level play. I just I hate it. So, you know.
It's a love-hate relationship. It's awesome, but then you realize, whoa, we're going to be fighting for 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, this fight's going to take 8 hours. And, oh, my character's stunned for 3 rounds? I'm not playing for 40 minutes.
Dude, it's just literally like a master chess match at that point. Especially my party, I've talked about them a couple times throughout the few episodes that we have of this podcast so far. But like they were a cleric, a bard, a wizard, and a ranger. That is predominantly spellcasters. That's 3 full casters in a party. The bard kind of assumed the tank position. The cleric would fill in sometimes, but they were really spellcasting heavy. When you are level 19 and you all have access to 9th level spells, and I'm trying to plan an encounter that is balanced and fun, it's impossible, is what I'm trying to say. It's just impossible. I literally would theory craft and spend hours and hours a week just trying to make sure that this fight was going to be good. Because that's the thing. I'm not trying to kill them. I'm not sitting here and brainstorming a million different ways of how I can beat the party. Because I want my party to win. But I want them to earn their win. I want them to earn it. And they probably want to earn it too. They don't want to just steamroll every encounter. When I do that, when I'm a player and I do that, I find that boring. I'm like, damn, homie obviously did not plan for us to be this powerful. And there's no stakes when you're just beating the shit out of everybody.
Well, yeah, it's boring. It's boring when you just destroy. Well, it depends. It's boring when you just destroy NPCs and mobs and stuff. In like a PvP game, yeah, it's fun to fucking destroy people. But in D&D, just destroying everything, yeah, every once in a while, like destroying an encounter, it feels good. It makes you feel powerful. But like, it kind of gets to the point, it's like, why are we playing if every fight we just demolish? Like, there's no point. Might as well just walk to the end of the dungeon and pick up the magic item that we're looking for. Because, like, why even fight? These guys can't hurt us. But yeah, so at high level, it is definitely like a giant chess match. And you definitely just kind of probably just have to say, fuck it. Just kind of throw shit at them. Like, Demon Lord or Ancient White Dragon. They're friends. Throw them both.
They're just literally, so like we've said before, Mitch and I would talk for hours every week, just me bouncing off ideas on him bouncing ideas off of me because he's running a campaign. And I started running into this issue at high level where the party was so powerful that it was just nearly impossible to give them a fight where I didn't almost kill them. Which, I mean, I guess that's kind of what you want. You want the party to almost die and then still prevail. But they just started steamrolling my encounters. And every week I'd be like, Mitch, you're not going to believe it. I'm going to fucking get him with this guy. I'm going to kill him with this guy. You know, someone's going down for sure. And then I'd call him the day after and I'd be like, oh yeah, they did. They decimated him.
They fucking wrecked it, dude. I didn't see it coming. I forgot they had this one ability. They fucking smashed it.
Yeah, but there was one point. There was a point in the campaign where one of the big bad guys, his name was Darrow, but he's just this like warlock spellcaster, 20th level. Like, I created him. He's a homebrew creature. Their arch enemy. They hated this guy, and I was like, dude, I've really mapped out this battle. It's going to be good. His goal wasn't even to kill the party. It was to get something that they had. So it was going to give this whole weird dynamic of like, he's not trying to kill them. He's just trying to control them so he can actually grab something out of their bag of holding and just, you know, this whole thing. They ended up completely negating him being able to grab the thing and actually almost killed him. I did not have him dying in my plans. Of course, I knew it was a very slight possibility, but I was like, there's no way they're going to almost kill him. Of course, they pulled something out that I forgot that they had from, 9 sessions ago and completely warped the encounter on its head. But at that, it was one of those things where I was just sitting there on the phone and I was like, talking to Mitch, and I was like, dude, I think I just have to throw the Demogorgon at him. That's the only answer. That's the only answer. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I actually, because I didn't just be like, surprise, the Demogorgon's here, but that was the patron of the warlock was the Demogorgon. So I was like, fuck it, Demogorgon's coming. No one else can do the thing that he needs to be done, so he's coming to do it himself. They fucking body the Demogorgon. And I was like, all right, I don't know what to do anymore.
Just cut to a video of you just like have your minis just dumping them in the fucking trash can. Like, all right, fuck this. I'm done. Campaign's over. You win. I get it. You win. Just leave me alone.
Dude, the only reason they didn't actually canonically kill the Demogorgon is because they made a mistake and accidentally banished him. They would have killed him. But they messed up, which I'm happy about. I'm happy that the Demogorgon is still canonically alive in my universe, but they could have. And that's why I don't like high-level play.
I like high-level play. The thing is, high-level play is rough if you're not efficient with your character. Like, the problems we were talking about for forever last week about, like, players taking forever on their turn, and then, like, it's been, like, 10 minutes, and they're like, I'm just going to hit them. That at high level play is like mind-numbing because you have so much shit you can do. It's fucking crazy. So having a good wrap around your character and knowing like, okay, if these guys move here, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do this. And you just do it. It takes 5 minutes. A 5-minute turn at like high level is good. That's probably good. But like, we're having just imagine high level, like for those who haven't like gone through a whole campaign and like gotten to really high level, imagine like just how long sometimes, mainly online, it takes people to take their turns, and we're like level 2 or 3, and then add 18 more levels to that, 10 more abilities, 30 more spells. Fuck, crazy.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and I would highly recommend not starting a campaign at higher level. Like, it's a big, I don't know if issue is the right word, but like, It's a big thing in D&D that like everyone knows you're not getting to high level a whole lot. That's not a normal thing. And some people don't even get to experience that. And when I say I don't like high level, I do. But I think high level gets very grating and very old very fast because of what Mitch just said. It's just so intense and there's so much you can do and things take so long because you're rolling 17 different fucking dice a turn. At some point in high level, you just kind of lose the story of it and it's just math at some point. Like, it's just math.
Yeah, I'd say high level, the best way to play high level, which I never really hear anybody talk about, is just having a smaller party. Like having a smaller party at higher level where it's only like 3 players, maybe 4, but like 3 or 2 is like probably the best for high level, because like the enemies, you can't have as many giant like strong enemies, but like you can still have powerful enemies because they're powerful characters, but there's only like 2 people, so it's like bounce back and forth and then the monsters, you know. So
yeah,
it
like
makes
in our first campaign the first campaign that I ever ran was with Mitch and my other best friend Noah, who we were living all together at the time. It was prime pandemic. That's when this happened. It was me running for literally them 2. They were a party of 2. So even at high level, things were still very contained and very balanced and very nice because it was just 2 players. He was a champion fighter, so he didn't have any like world-ending abilities. He just did a fuck ton of damage. And Noah played Dorjan, who was a ranger, and he was a multi-class into something. Was he a multi-class fighter? I don't know.
I think
Ranger Rogue, Ranger Wizard. I don't know. Cleric maybe? I don't know. But anyways, he was a ranger, so they didn't have any of that absolutely like game-breaking stuff in their repertoire. And our final battle was literally just them 2 versus a Balor. I think it's a CR 18 creature.
Yeah.
And they were level 20, and it was nice. It was perfect. It was a super intense battle. There were lots of dice being rolled. Everyone was being epic and doing epic things, but it wasn't like obscene.
Mm-hmm. And it felt cool because it's like, oh shit, this is a big scary monster. We haven't really been able to fight it. The good thing about having like a 2-person party was because you're only 2 people, you can't fight as strong of monsters like accurately or like well. So I know people will say, well, the Balor is a CR 18 creature. Why are you throwing that at level 20 player characters? Because all the CR ratings are based off a party of at least 4 people. So a CR 18 creature against 2 level 20s, yeah, they're level 20, they're strong as shit. But that would be a pretty good fight. And it felt awesome because throughout the campaign, like because we're only 2 people, there's so much more pressure on you to do well against the monsters. You can't rely on your teammates and stuff. So if a fight's deadly, it's way more intense because it's like, okay, if Dorjan goes down, I can't pick him back up. I'm a fighter. I don't have anything to do it. Like I have to throw a potion at his head or something. I don't know. So the fights were more intense because there's less players. And honestly, more deadly because we don't have as much recovery. I really liked the 2-player campaign. I thought it was really cool because you almost like form like a really strong character relationship with each other, and it's like your dynamic duo. It's just you 2. You can only rely on each other for all of your fights. So I don't know. You get really involved with each other's backstory and characters. Like we barely had any backstory or any character because it was our first time playing basically, and I don't know, like I grew really attached to our characters and like Dorjan's storyline, and like we had to go revive somebody or whatever, like an NPC, and it was very personal because it's only 2 of us and then the DM.
It allows for a lot more inner party dynamics. When you got 4 to 5 people at the table, that's still a great size D&D party. Mm-hmm. I think 4 to 5 players is honestly prime D&D party. But one of the big strengths of having a very small party, 2 players, even 3 players, is the players get so much more time to shine on average because you don't have to split the spotlight with as many people. So you can have more of those interpersonal moments and character dynamics, and it becomes a little more intimate instead of like you're not a group. You're just a small like trio or a duo.
It almost feels more like you're adventuring with like your best friend or your 2 best friends. Yeah. It's like you're like super close knit. But if you have like 5 or 6 people in the party, it's much harder to get like involved with each other in the game. I mean, You can still like all the role playing stuff is great in your backstory, whatever.
You can still do it. It just takes longer.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't know if it's necessarily harder, but it takes longer.
Like me and Dorjan, like when we go into a fight, we knew what we were gonna do. We'd plan out stuff and we'd be like, okay, you're gonna go, like it was like a tag team, like, okay, you're gonna go up in the tower and you're gonna snipe them from above, use your lightning arrow, I'm gonna go in and make a distraction. And it was fun. It was like a dynamic duo, like Batman and Robin. Like it was cool. And I kind of missed that. And it also helps that we were all three best friends. Yeah. So like even the DM's like in on it with us, like, oh shit, yeah, you can do that. Okay, that's cool. Because it's not like necessarily it's like he's running the game, but he's not like running the game for a party. It's like he's just like, oh yeah, that's cool. We'll do, like he's just running the game for us two, and we're just hanging out, kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, that's like a core. That campaign is like a core memory because we were literally living through a fucking pandemic, something that living through an insane unprecedented time. We were all living together, so it was cool. We were all just every week getting together, getting drunk, playing D&D. We were learning the game, so it was cool. We didn't have all this knowledge, so every time I would say, all right, you guys level up, they would look at their characters next level for the first time ever, and they'd be like, oh shit, I got this, oh that's cool, I didn't know. We didn't really know how to play the game yet to the full extent. We talked a lot about this in our first episode, but like this game was very rules light. It was mostly just us getting drunk, me throwing monsters at them and seeing if they would die or survive.
Yeah, and like it was great, and it was the low party is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, the big parties are fun too. Once you get to like 6, like that's a big party. 7 is pushing it.
Dude, don't do 7.
Don't do 7 ever.
Like,
I mean, you could, but like you're gonna have to stick to like level 1 through like 4. Like you can't.
Even 6. Like I would say, if you need to do 6, then do it. But it's got to be necessary. It's got to be absolutely necessary. Like there's just too many people, and this is something that we this is something that we face as DMs too. It's like everyone wants to be in the D&D game, right? All your friends, everybody. You only got so much room, and people can't take it personally. 4 is my number. That is my magic number. 5 is fine. 6 is pushing it. 7 is a no-go.
Yeah, I think 4 is good. Honestly, I think maybe it's just because the longest campaign I played in was this, but I honestly think 3 is my favorite. I like 3.
3 is also really good.
The trio is good. Because if you have 2 people who have 2 opinions, the third can break it up. But then when you get to 4, obviously you almost have like 2 tag teams, like 2 duos. So that's good too. But yeah, honestly, the more I've played D&D and the more like I've experienced this game, just me personally, the more for like long form campaigns, the more I've enjoyed smaller parties. I feel like you just feel so much more impactful. And it's so much more important what you do because you have so many less players. And also, I feel like it's so much easier for the DM because they don't have to worry about all this shit their party can do. They can be much more like lenient on like what they're throwing at the party. Like if we have a party of 2 people, one's a fighter, one's a ranger, we have a very limited amount of healing. We can't really banish anything. If he throws a dragon at us, like, yeah, we can do damage and stuff, but like it's going to be a problem. That's going to be an epic fight. If you have a party of 4 people, one's a cleric, one's a wizard, one's a fighter, and the other one's like a bullseye ranger or whatever, shooting from across the map, that dragon is not going to be the same when you put it at the table. I like the more personal responsibility as a player at a smaller table. So I honestly, just my opinion, I like smaller tables better. But large tables have their place, and it is fun to like play with a big group. It's more like a gathering. It's more social. I feel like a big group is better for like a one shot.
I think it comes in there's pros and cons to each of them. I think the main difference here is that when you are running a smaller party, you need to be close to the people that you're doing it with. You need to be close with them. You need to be when you're running a bigger party, that works for like you're getting a group of friends together. Not everyone is super tight with each other, but you're all just getting together and having fun. When you are playing with your 2 best friends, a party of 2 is chilling. When you're playing with 2 people that you don't know very well, that can be really intimate and honestly maybe a little uncomfortable when you have to start role playing and stuff. So it's really about that dynamic. Like you, me, and Noah, we could play D&D just us 3 all day, every day. But there are people that if you put me in that situation with them, I'd be like, okay, let's see how this works. We're gonna have to try and work this out. And you can get there. D&D might be a great tool to make those bonds with those people, but it can be a little uncomfortable at first.
definitely a smaller party with people who don't really know would definitely be a little uncomfortable because it is definitely more intimate.
It's intimate, and role playing is like one of those things that it feels weird when you first start doing it, but when you understand that it's stupid and you just go, oh yeah, we are adults literally playing pretend.
I'm being stupid.
If you just kind of understand that and you're like, oh yeah, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want, I can pretend to be an elf if I want, you just you get past that.
Chat type 1 if I'm stupid.
Oh dude, that's so you just brought back a memory. So I'm in a campaign. I'm a player in a campaign right now. It's a campaign that one of my friends here in Colorado is running. Really smart dude, kind of a game designer type guy. Really good DM. He is running a game where we've all died and we're playing these death games to try and get out.
Get out of limbo, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get out of limbo essentially and come back. But the cool thing about it is anyone from anywhere can be a part of the death game. So like you can have like one of our players is a cowboy. I'm like this super edgelord knight that's edgy to the point where it's comedic, and like he's just this like gloom and doom type guy. We have someone that's kind of like Cortana from Halo. Her name is Honora, but she comes from modern day. So the
multiverse.
Yeah, it's like this multiversal thing. You can kind of come from wherever you want and have complete control over how you want to build your character.
Perfect for Giga Man. We got to bring Giga Man back. We got to shove him in there.
Please, God. But the thing that is happening right now in the campaign is Honora, she comes from like she's like this warforged like digital AI that came from a world, and it's just this really cool concept. But she is teaching my character Judah, this super edgy guy, Twitch chat. So she's teaching me like all the Twitch lingo. So like on Thursday we played and I got the killing blow on this giant thing. So
chat, clip that. Like, clip that, chat.
Dude, that's literally what I said. He's like, how do you want to kill this creature? So I was like, all right. I jump up on his armor and I stab my sword directly into his spine. And right before I rip off his head, I go, Chad, clip this. And I rip his head off. Because we all have one of our boons. It's the whole thing. But we have a power that allows us to communicate telepathically. So now I just try and every time I kill a creature, I try to do a Twitch catch.
W, Chad, W. W stream, Chad. Oh my gosh. Type 1 in chat if that was epic.
I'm getting low on my beer. You getting low on your beer? Oh my God, he's got another one.
They don't call me Duel Wielder for nothing.
We're going to take like 2 minutes. I'm going to grab another beer. We'll be right back.
Top sucks. Chat. Holy shit, chat. This is the craziest stream ever. Chat, clip that. Clip that, chat. I'm farming. Xbox, record that.
And we're back. Sorry, I had to take a break. I needed another beer, and I needed to pee. Because it's time for the fucking wisdom check.
Time for the
wisdom check. We got 2 questions today. It seems to be the pattern.
Hold up.
We'll be
prep your brain. We gonna be dropping some wisdom. Look out.
There it is. Get ready. We got 2 questions today, and these are kind of like a double header questions. Rafi Ayala, he's back. He's back with another banger of a question. We saw him in the first episode. We got him again in the third one.
Rafi!
Thank you, Rafi. Thank you, Rafi, for the wonderful question, which I'm going to read right now. Quote, I'm always going to be curious about magic items and how they can flip a game overboard. Do you have any favorites or homebrew items? Unquote. Rafi, this is a wonderful question. We're going to try to not go on a tangent. We went on a huge tangent with your question last time. We'll probably do it again, to be honest. He's curious how magic items can kind of turn a game on its head. And do we have any favorites? So magic items are a very dangerous thing to give your party. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't give them. Magic items are awesome. That's why there's so fucking many of them in D&D. You should give your players magic items.
Sick loot.
And that's honestly, that's what they want. That's what the players are looking for. Gold's fine. That's cool. Level up, that's great. That's great too. But magic items, that's what your players want. That's the goods, right? Especially if it's a magic item that's tailored to them.
Very dangerous in the game world and out of the table. Magic items definitely can wreck your shit. Boots of flying, don't give that shit out. The winged boots, no. I will never give that shit out to anybody.
Yeah, the winged boots, and that's the thing is, there's some of these magic items that are kind of mundane, and they give you one little ability. The winged boots, what rarity are those? What are they? Uncommon?
Oh,
rare?
they're green. Yeah,
They're green.
They make it so you can be not attacked by like 80% of the monsters in the fucking game.
Yeah,
That's a green item. Yeah. Oh, any slime that's in the game, I just fly up. Any orc, hopefully he has more than one javelin.
you fighting a Tarrasque?
Oh, he can't hurt me anymore.
There you go.
I'll shoot him like a pincushion over and over again for 20,000 rounds.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation of the Tarrasque.
Any climbing puzzle? Oh, it's solved.
Yeah, flight is a huge thing, and I generally hate it when. And look, sorry, we're literally already.
We're tangenting. What was this question even? I don't even fucking remember. I'm sorry, Raji. I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
Rafi. It's Rafi.
Rafi, I can't even remember your name.
You come to the podcast, you get the questionaire's name right.
Fuck.
But yeah, curious about magic items. Now they can flip a game overboard. This is very nuanced because magic items are cool. There's a lot of classic ones, you know, the dread, like, all right. So first off, we can't start listing magic items. We'll be here forever, but magic items are a really good thing to reward your players on very difficult encounters. Do not just start handing out magic items at any point in the game. Like, if they defeat a little pack of goblins, you shouldn't be giving them any magic items.
Yeah, those goblins aren't going to have gear.
Give them gold. This is something that should be tossed around sparingly, and it doesn't seem, you know, if you're given a couple of magic items every session, might not seem like a lot, but that shit adds up. That shit adds up.
Oh yeah.
It and my party in the campaign I just finished is a prime example of this. We played for 2 years. And I was probably a little generous with the magic items I gave them. But one of them was a decanter of endless water. That's a green magic item. And honestly, my thought process behind it was, I'll give them this decanter of endless water just so if they ever like run into any like super survival situations, I don't want to track all, you know, oh, well, do you have enough rations? Do you have enough water? Just, you have a decanter of endless water. You have an endless water supply now. You never have to worry about tracking your liquid or anything like that. Our bard used that shit every single fight. If he never had anything to do on a turn, he'd go, I pull out the decanter of endless water and I blast the mage, or I blast the hag. I blast anybody. He blasted on, you know what? No, this is perfect, because when we're talking about the giant encounter that I had, that was one of the climactic encounters, he blasted Daro, the 20th level warlock spellcaster, into a dark star black hole with the decanter of endless water. It's a green item. I gave it to him so they wouldn't have to worry about water.
Dude, you didn't see him. You didn't see that coming? That's very normal.
No,
that's very normal.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, that's very normal. Blasting your enemy into a black hole with a decanter of endless water.
They will take every magic item and they will turn it against you.
Yeah,
and it's fun most of the time, but sometimes it is a little infuriating.
You just have to limit what you give out. Sometimes it's nice to tailor make magic items, like homebrew magic items. You ask what some of our cool homebrew items are, what some of our favorites are. My favorite magic items are like ones that give little boosts. Those are my favorite. Like, I made a homebrew magic item called the Knocking Stick. It's a staff with a big red gem in the top. You can cast the knock spell once per day, and it boosts your perception by 4. That's it. And, you know, that's a very cool magic item. Oh, I get this cool spell that's utility that unlocks something once per day. And also, my perception's way better. It's not a very powerful staff, but like little buffs items are great, especially if you make them. D&D is sorely missing little buff items, like items that buff your stats a little, or like maybe increase your strength by like 1 or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's like no items like that. They're all like either trash ass items you don't want, or they're like skyrocketing powerful. Like,
yeah, like headband of intellect. Okay, your intelligence is now 19. That's a green item, right? It's a green item, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think it's 17 though. But
well,
yeah,
still, you got the Gauntlets of Hill Giant strength. That's a green item. That puts your strength at a 19.
Gauntlets of Ogre Power.
Gauntlets of Ogre Power, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but no,
Power.
like that's the problem. Like there's so many cool things they could do with the character sheet that they don't with the items. Even just like one use items once per day, like utility stuff. That's cool. I made a custom belt because the belt of Dwarven kind it's a stronger belt, but like that's probably one of my favorite items because it gives you utility with a certain, like, it's very specific. With dwarves, you're way better. You grow a beard. It's cool. It's thematic. But then it increases your con by 2. So in my campaign, I wanted cool low-level magic items similar to that, but they were fighting a lot of orcs. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make an orc belt that's similar to that belt, but they're only like level 2, so I don't want to give them like a heavy belt or like a really crazy powerful one. So I made a belt of orc might, and it basically makes it so you can understand orcish, like the orc language. I think it's goblin. I think they speak the same thing as goblin. But so goblinoid. And it increased their constitution by 1. So if they had 16, it would go to a 17. And then also it increases their movement by 5 because orcs get the extra movement. So it's thematic. It makes it, you put it on, it's like an orc ability themed belt, but it's not like crazy strong. I feel like D&D doesn't have enough small stat boosting items. And you can really like make your own stuff like that. And it's really cool to get stuff like that. Like, oh shit, my history is increased by 3. That's awesome. I'm going to purposely try to use my history more. That encourages good role play. There's like no items like that in D&D. And I feel like that's a good solution to solve like these world ending, like, oh, why this is a green item, boots of flying is a green item, so I gave it out to my low level party, and now the ranger can never get attacked again unless the enemy has a bow. Like, it just comes from getting reps and knowing and making the mistake of like, okay, I'm not giving that item out again until high level. Even like their low level items that do boost your stuff, like cloak of protection, ring of protection, stuff like that, that is still pretty strong. You get an AC and it increases all of your saves. Where's the item where it's like a ring that doesn't require attunement and you put it on and it increases your like intelligence by 1? Like, where are those items? Like, you could throw so many little items like that at your players. Like, oh, increases your perception by 3 or your performance by 5. It's like special jazz hand gloves. Who gives a fuck?
The attunement thing is an extremely important aspect of this. If you are going to give them magic items that are actually good, most of the time you really need to make it attunement. Anything that's good that is actually going to change the way that the player plays their character, you should be making it attunement, because that gives it some sort of trade-off. Most people, unless you're an artificer, which doesn't even technically exist right now in the new rules, they only have 3 attunement slots. That becomes an extremely important thing when you start getting to mid to high level, and you know your party is collecting magic items at this point, and they're going, okay, well, all my attunement slots are filled, so this new item we got, is it worth getting rid of something I already have? That's a whole different dance. So you really need to make sure, if you are giving them something that is really good, 100% it needs to require attunement.
Yes, 1,000%. Always if you're not sure, if you're like looking at them and you're like, I don't know, is it weak? Is it too weak to have attunement, or is it too strong? If you're trying to decide that, just give it attunement, because then it means you probably should have it. I would say like either tailor make some magic items that are like lower bonuses. Like, I remember I really wanted one of my players to have a way to bypass like the magical defense for like bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, but I didn't want to give him like a very powerful sword. But like, he also was the only one in the party that couldn't see in the dark, so I took the moon touch sickle and I made like a moonstone greatsword custom item, and it glowed with like 15 feet of like dim light when it was in the dark, or when he turned it on. And then also it bypassed magical defense for bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. It didn't give him any bonuses to his damage or to hit, but it was just a cool thematic item that he bought from a trader, and it really kind of like helped him out in the party, and it was like an important item for them. Well, we need to buy this. It was like 60 gold at the time, and it was a great sword, which was kind of cheap, but like they were early on, so they didn't have a lot of money. But yeah, so that really changed his gameplay. He's like, okay, we don't have to worry about me seeing in the dark now. I don't have to hold a torch, because no one else wanted to hold a torch because they could all see. So you can give items that will drastically change their gameplay and make it for the better without them being super strong. You just have to be a little creative. I gotta be honest, I don't really often use a lot of magic items that are pre-made from the books. Most of my stuff is homebrew, because like I kind of tailor make items a little bit for my players, because the amount of times I've just thrown magic items from the book at them and they're just like, oh, we don't need this, and they just sell it or just get rid of it, is almost every time. So unless it's like a generic like cloak of protection or ring of protection or something like that.
Yeah, there's some staples. There's some staple magic items. Like when our bard got a flame tongue longsword, he was fucking over the moon. He's like, this is so cool. This is awesome. I know this. You know, it's like, it's one of those famous magic items. So definitely read the magic items. I know in the new DMG there's like fucking 400 of them. So
yeah,
you know, take an entire day or a week or whatever, read through them, because there are some good ones. We're not just shitting on the D&D canon magic items. A lot of them are really awesome. Some of them are a little broken. But when it comes to like designing magic items, you do need to be very careful. It is very nuanced, because it's one of those things of like, it's one thing to throw a homebrew monster at the party and be like, okay, cool, that encounter went really well, or damn, I really didn't design that monster well for this encounter, didn't design him as well as I thought. When you poorly design a magic item, that player has it for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
It's not like a one and done thing where you're like, oh man, I really missed the mark there. All right, I got to deal with that for the rest of this campaign now.
Now obviously if it's like, if you go to them and you're like, hey, I kind of made a mistake, that item's way too strong, or like I'll have like a magic item that was like tailor made for somebody, or like it was tailor made for me and it just sucks. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to use that. And then whoever made it, or kind of, you're just kind of like, oh, all right. You know, it's like it just goes in your bag.
Yeah,
like I've done that for my players before, where like I made a magic item, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great for him, like it's gonna boost this and that, and he's like, yeah, I don't really, does anyone else want this? I don't really want it. And I was like, oh.
Dude, that sucks as a DM. That feeling is so bad. I had that in my campaign too. It was like a super climatic encounter of one of the arcs, and like I gave this person an awesome magic item that I was like, oh, they're gonna love this, and they're like, yeah, I don't really have room for this in my attunement slots. Anyone else want it? I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. But yeah, just like, you just have to be more. You have to be stingy, but then make sure that you can give a lot of magic items. You just have to make sure they're just weaker, and then every once in a while give one of the strong ones out. Nobody should be getting like a purple magic item until at least like level 6 or 7. Like, and maybe they're like, the party has like one, at least in my opinion. Like it should strictly be green. Maybe at level 3 somebody or like 2 people have like a blue, maybe, but that would be after like a long dungeon or something, or like you complete like a mini arc of the campaign, like, oh shit, we found a blue item, the whole party has one. You just have to really feel out what your party can do and give it to them accordingly. And then obviously the homebrew aspect, it makes it so much easier because you can tailor make it for them, so you know it's not going to be busted. Sometimes you fuck up and it is, but your players should be nice enough. You can be like, hey, I shouldn't have done that, can I bring it back a little? Sure.
Yeah, like, no, if anyone's going to give you trouble about that, that's a bigger issue at hand.
Yeah.
And you need to, if you want to get into homebrewing magic items, to the person who asked this question, Rafi, if you want to get into homebrewing magic items, if you haven't yet, look while you're playing your sessions, while you're running your sessions, while you're in your sessions, whether you're a player or a DM, and see where magic items would have been useful. In the campaign that I was running, our wizard would often find himself just out of range to do certain things, or just like, wizards are squishy, so he would like hide around a corner, and something would happen and he'd be like, oh, I want to counterspell that, and I'd be like, you're around the corner, you don't see it, I'm sorry. And as one of the magic items I gave him for completing his big arc was a pennant that allowed him once per day to essentially channel his duplicate. He was a dunamancy wizard, so he had like this kind of like duplicate consciousness living with him. He could channel his duplicate 30 feet away from him and cast the spell from that point. So if he was 30 feet out of range, he could channel his duplicate and be fine. If he wanted to be able to see around a corner, he could channel his duplicate to look around the corner while he was still hiding and be able to cast any spells. So it was kind of this like super situational thing where I was like, okay, you're having a lot of trouble in this, and I see you struggling. Here's your reward. congratulate you don't have to struggle with that anymore. But it's only once a day, so there is a give and take. But there was a couple times where he did really use that, and it was like super awesome because there's nothing better when you make an item and your players actually use it and take advantage of it.
Yes.
You're like, okay, cool. I actually did that right.
But yeah, some of our favorites, and definitely like all the smaller scale ones. I love just smaller magic items that just give you small little boosts, attunement or non-attunement. Those are my favorite. Like they just slightly augment your character, and they're simple. It's not like some of those like high level magic items, you read them, it's like a page and a half of text, and there's like 5 different sections, like the awakened swords and shit. That shit is crazy. I just don't want to deal with it. Just give me like a cool sword that has a cool effect. Like when I hit this guy, he's poisoned and he takes an extra d6 of poison damage or something. Cool. Doesn't even have to be a bonus to the sword. Like we need more simple items that are weaker that we can hand out more freely. Like we don't have enough of that. And I get for the canon of the game, it's kind of like magic items are very rare. So since they're very rare, they want them to be powerful in the lore. There's just not enough like low level shit. And if it is there, it just sucks and there's no use and you don't want to use it.
And also take inspiration from shit you see in movies and stuff.
Yes.
Like, one of the most famous magic items of all time, Mjolnir, Thor's hammer.
Yeah, I was gonna go Thanos glove.
Dude, no. Do never, ever give anyone something equivalent to the power of the Thanos glove. If they can snap half of reality out of existence, stop.
Dude, Thor's hammer literally turns you into a god when you pick it up.
If you're worthy.
What are you gonna you have the magic item, dude? I just imagine like you have the Thor's hammer type magic item at the end of the dungeon, and the paladin fought all his way through the dungeon with his party to get there, and he's like, whoa, legendary sword, let's go. He goes to pick it up and nothing fucking happens because he's not. Yeah, you're not worthy, sorry. You broke your oath that one time when you let the rogue kill that kid that one time. So
well, look. I'm looking at it from the hammer has from an ability perspective. It allows you the ability to fly. You can channel lightning and stuff. One of the cleric in my previous party was very kind of Thor-esque. He played him a lot differently, but he was very kind of like Thor Ragnarok vibes. He was a cleric of the Stormlord Chord, and his magic item was a hammer. And actually, this kind of perfectly segues into our next question. We got 2 back-to-back magic item questions. So I'm going to read our next question, and we'll kind of continue this. How would you handle a player who wanted to start their character with a super powerful magic item given to them by a god or a deity? It would make them a demigod, essentially, and a vital part of their character. So essentially what I think you're asking here is, you're starting a campaign, player wants like a magic item that was given to them by a god, and it's going to be a very big part of their identity.
I got this. Yeah. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't
fucking do that shit. If you do that, give them an item that's not turned on yet, and they got to do certain things to turn it on.
We're on the exact same page here.
Yeah. So like I ran in a campaign. I didn't run a campaign. I played in a campaign for a few sessions. Didn't really like the game or where it was going. He told us to make our own items that would kind of grow with us throughout the campaign, but then didn't really tell us what to do with it, so we just kind of had to make it our own. But that's besides the point, whatever. We actually had super powerful items that we were supposed to grow with us as we leveled up. So since I was a monk, I made these like hand wraps, almost like a boxer or a fighter or something. And I called them the Spirit Guard wraps because I was an ancestral guardian barbarian and a monk. So
what the fuck campaign are you talking about?
It was in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Icewind Dale that I had to cancel after 4 sessions.
No. No, it wasn't the one with Deciduous either. Deciduous was fucking baller. Okay. I love all my characters, if you haven't noticed. But yeah, I played. This is the origination of one of my characters, Baldrus. He was an ancestral guardian, and a barbarian and a monk, multi-class. We were like level 4 or something, and he had these Spirit Guard wraps, and he basically trained with the wraps on. He trained with the spirit of his father, who was like his master. And the wraps, the first ability I had them was they gave him the ability to cast guidance. And then as he'd get to certain levels in his class or just as a character, like once he got to 5th level, he'd get like an extra something. Once he got to like 10th level, he'd unlock a new thing. Like once he got to 5th level, it made it so his attacks were magical, so that he could bypass the bludgeoning damage for his unarmed strikes. It wasn't super powerful, but it helped him out a lot. For doing magic items like that, you really have to focus on the lore and the aspect of them. Not necessarily like, oh, we give you a god killer weapon at level 1. No, you got to say, you have a god killer weapon that has to grow with power with you. And you have to charge up the dead souls inside it by killing enemies, and then it grows in strength, and eventually it'll become the God Slayer, whatever. If you have the lore around it and the cool backstory of the weapon, and you have some cool art or something you find online, and then you give it to the player, and it's just like a silvered longsword at level 1, but it's got all this lore and canonical stuff and cool artwork, it'll be fine. You don't need to make it some extremely powerful item. Have it grow into that.
Yeah, and then you've literally given your player goals too. Like you've given that player character like something like an arc to pursue. This is not a new concept too. Like this whole the holy character after the artifact, trying to get the artifact of their god that allows them the power to, do world bending shit. I've done this multiple times. I've done it with literally one of Mitch's characters, Chothar, a Goliath paladin. An entire campaign arc was dedicated to him going to find Wielder, which was a homebrew god that I made for my world, going to find the sword of Wielder, Glory's vestige. They had to infiltrate this entire mountain. He had to kill a white dragon. It was like this entire arc. It's super intense, super sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. And the dragon, it was well done, because in my backstory, the reason I was in the city we started was because this white dragon attacked me while I was on an adventure on the road. He like picked me up and was like clawing into me, and I fell into the river and floated down to the city, so he lost me because I fell into the water. But that was like my arch nemesis for the whole campaign. And then it just so happens to turn out that the legendary sword I need to get for our quest, we go there, and it's like in the frigid north. And when we get there, we find out, oh, there's an ancient white dragon in here, and he recognizes you. And I'm like, oh no. It was like a double whammy for my character. It was slam dunk, and getting that item really felt really good, because Wielder was my deity that I followed, and he kind of showed me this vision of like, you're powerful and you've done a lot of good deeds. You're my champion. Go get my sword. And he showed me the vision of where the sword was, and that was our party number 1. Like, we got to get this guy the sword. So,
and also, sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
So yeah, so the swords in magic items and stuff like that, like very powerful ones, inspire a lot of role play. And for the limiters, you don't even have to put them at levels. You could have a limiter on a sword, like, oh, once you do this certain thing, you can now cast like Healing Word at level 4 for free. And you could have that limiter be like, perform a miracle. What's a miracle? I don't know. Your character in your role play, like your player role playing, is going to be trying to do crazy stuff in awesome role play to perform a miracle, whatever that means. Like, that encourages such good play to like unlock cool item abilities and powers from your player literally delving into their character's role play and story.
After all of that, I think there's 2 options here. You start with, they do have the artifact already, and it's just, it's dormant. They have to awaken it through their devotion, through their character development. Or there is an arc dedicated to hunting this item down. That involves some sort of trial and tribulation. I did this with Mitch's character, like we just talked about. I did this with the cleric. That was in my previous campaign. He had to reforge a hammer, and what I did was, like, in session, like I said, this campaign went for 69 sessions. In session 7, he found the hilt of the hammer because the hammer had been broken. I think in like session 40 or something like that, he finally found the hammerhead. And then there was a whole 2 sessions dedicated to them going to this remote location, this desert forge under an oasis in a desert, where he had to then reforge while a bunch of other stuff was happening. So it was like this whole dynamic combat encounter where he was having to do things to reforge the hammer. The rest of the party was like fighting off these assailants while he was just focusing on this. It's this huge, intense thing. And each one has their pros and cons. Personally, I prefer the find the weapon. I don't like it when they start out with the weapon because how the fuck they're level 1 character. How the fuck are they getting a god tier weapon? Unless it was like, something like, unless it was a little nepotism, like, hey, the Grandmaster Monk decided to choose you, and now you have the god weapon, and you have to awaken it. Sure, that's pretty cool.
Classic Kung Fu Panda Master Oogway.
yeah, exactly.
Are you sure you're meaning to point at him, Master? I think I am.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually, it can be cool. I'm not shitting on that one, but yeah. I do like you have to go find it. You have to go find the weapon because it can inspire like literally an entire arc of a campaign of you going on this giant traveling journey and fighting these insane creatures, finding the weapon, doing all this stuff. It can be a really cathartic experience. It can be super intense, and it also has this giant payoff because you found the weapon. You found the weapon and now it's yours. Just, if you're homebrewing the weapon, make it fucking worth it.
Yeah, and that's when you give out the legendary fucking item. That's when you give out that item. Shit. And I literally just probably like 4 sessions ago did this too. The biggest arc of my campaign that I'm running right now that we've gone through is they arrived at this city that's on a mountain and there's threats of an ancient black dragon around. And so they've been called to this. The whole point of the campaign, they got to level 5 before they even got to the city. But the whole point of the campaign was they were traveling to this city, like returning a call of heroes. So the first 5 levels of the campaign, like 10 sessions, was literally just them like journeying there to like start. So like they were in a town before and they did travel. And then the campaign, like the meat, like you dug into the meat when they got to the city. And they were hired basically by this city, like, yeah, we've sent people down there before and they didn't come back. We have the shards of this legendary greatsword. We need you to go down there and reforge it because it's called Doomworm and there's threats of an ancient black dragon around here. We need somebody to go make this. We haven't made it public yet that there's a dragon. We need defensives. We need basically like a backup plan if this thing attacks. We need you guys to go down under the city, under the mountain. There's an ancient dwarven city that has long been dead. We need you to travel down there, find the ancient dwarven forge where this sword was forged, because it's so magical, you can only forge it in their magic super forges down there. And they went on a whole campaign arc through the Underdark to get to the Undermountain, forged this sword. They fought this fire giant who had taken over the city called the Crag King. He was fucking awesome. I made a whole mini for him. And it was like literally like a 10-15 session campaign arc of literally just trying to make this legendary item so that when this dragon attacks, they're prepared. It was awesome. It's awesome. And when my player got that, we also had a cool encounter where everyone's like pulling handles and coals falling in, all while there's a forge guardian trying to destroy them all.
The Baldur's Gate combat.
Literally, yeah. And they're like, but at the same time, they're pulling chains. They're trying to light forges. They're trying to put metal and stuff while they're fighting this guy. And in the center of the room, who the sword is made for, he's got like the molds and he's like messing with them and doing stuff. So it can be really rewarding. That's when those moments are when you give the magic items out that are legendary. Like you can't just hand out a legendary magic item willy-nilly unless they like destroy like a legendary boss. Then he just drops it. Something like that.
Give the legendary items out when your party's doing legendary fucking shit.
Yeah, and you can make a huge campaign arc about it, and it can inspire so much story. I would agree that giving the item out as a reward later is better than the growing magic item, but the growing magic item can also be rewarding too. You just have to do it in a different way so they're not just broken right when they start the game.
It definitely will kind of determine how that character progresses through their campaign. If they already have the thing, then it's obviously going to look a lot different than if they're trying to find it. But each one has its pros. Yeah. And
and it can be cool and it can be really influencing. And I love the idea of like a cleric item that it's like heal back to life 5 different people, or like literally revive 5 different people throughout the campaign, and it unlocks an ability on this weapon. Or
Don't allow your players to cheese it though.
yes, correct. Or like
heal 3 people back, or heal 5 people back to life. All right, cool. I'm gonna fucking decapitate this townsperson.
yeah,
right here.
it can't be someone you hurt or killed or something. Or obviously that would be like a bad take of the item. Like as a DM, you would just be like, yeah, it doesn't fucking work. But
Well, hey, it's in the rules now. All right. I can't remember if it's I think it's the player's handbook, but it might be DMG. It's in the fucking rules now. You gotta play the game in good faith, motherfucker.
Yep.
It's in the fucking books.
Yep. You have to
can't just break the rules now because they're the rules.
Well, hypothetically, if I have Warcaster, I can take a reaction attack on my ally because they're leaving the space next to me, and I can use my reaction to heal them or buff them. Fuck you! No!
It's against the rules.
That's against the rules now, bitch! That's not how it works! That's bad faith!
There's one more thing I gotta say, and maybe we can talk about this next time because we're a little bit.
Well, we
did
did take a little break, so maybe we got some more time.
All right, yeah, we did take a little break, so maybe we got some more time. The fucking new books, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. D&D is improving. There's, you see a lot of naysayers and stuff about, everything. Here's everything wrong with the player's handbook. Here's everything wrong with the DMG. They didn't change this. Dude, the game is better. The game is better in this new version. It just is.
So the new books are so good that the small flaws about them stick out like a sore thumb because the rest of the book is so good. So people are hyper focusing on that shit. The old books are way worse than the new ones.
I'm loving. I have the player's handbook right here. DMG right here. I'm reading this shit up. I love it. It's awesome.
Guys, I'm a fake dungeon master. I don't have any of the new rule books.
You got them online.
No, I don't. I just use yours.
You have online because you're in my D&D Beyond campaign.
Yeah. I should buy them soon, but I just haven't.
Look, times are tough, all right?
Times are tough.
You got access to the books. You got them at this point.
Yeah, basically. Dude, I don't know how that sale model works. Like we have there's 50 people connected to us that just get the books for free because we own them. It's crazy.
I hope no one from D&D Beyond is watching this because I basically bought 15 people the new player's handbook at DMG. But yeah, they're really good. They're really good. You should definitely invest in them. I know Hasbro's an evil company, but D&D, the people behind Wizards of the Coast seem to be, kind of stepping in the right direction. A lot of third-party stuff. I don't know how we even got on this subject. We're not sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, but I like the direction that D&D's going.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, the game has gotten better. There's some problems. One thing snuck through the cracks. That is minor elementals. Conjure minor elementals.
Dude, there's definitely going to be an addendum to that.
There's got to be an errata.
There's definitely There has to be an errata to that.
We'll see.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole
the Dungeon Dudes tackled that, I'm pretty sure. So go watch them if you want to hear the whole thing about that.
But yeah. So I mean, we're not even on wisdom check anymore.
We're not on wisdom check anymore.
We hope we answered both of your fucking questions. We love them.
We did it.
We like talking. But magic items. Yeah, magic items.
Magic items. But I'm pretty sure we answered all their questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for commenting your questions. I did confirm this. You can comment questions in Spotify. So if you're listening to this, you can literally comment on the podcast. I guess it's a new feature. I don't know. But you can comment your questions. So definitely do that. If you're watching YouTube, obviously, if you have any questions, comment in the comment section. DM me on TikTok, Instagram. I don't know, man. We're wrapping it up here.
Yeah, also I redid the surroundings, so it should look a little nicer. Unfortunately, I didn't send it in time to Tom last week, so our last one looked like shit. I finished it after the podcast, but we didn't have it in time. That's my fucking bad.
It's all right.
But it looks better now. But yeah, so I've also made an Instagram page where I'm gonna post my art. I don't know what for. Just I like doing pixel art and random game design stuff. So we'll post that on there.
He's a super talented pixel artist. If you have any D&D characters, everyone loves D&D character art. So if you want Mitch to design your character art, fucking DM him. You know, he'll give you his prices starting at $1 billion.
$1 billion for character art. If you want a character animation, you're gonna have to buy me a case of beer, and then just take a look at my page, maybe.
Yeah. What's your handle?
Oh, my handle? It's long, but it's Duel Wielder _ pixel artist.
So yeah, definitely check Mitch out. Obviously you can see he's genuinely a very talented pixel artist. He made the icons, the my little sage hooded figure and the dwarf on the cover of this podcast. He made this frame. He's done a million other things. So really good artist. If you want any character art or anything like that, he's your guy to go to, especially for that style. If you want to follow me, I'm at The Adventure Sage. That's my handle, The Adventure Sage. I go on rants and talk about D&D. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Forever DM. You know, we're both Forever DMs. I post pictures of my battle maps and a whole bunch of other shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm a little drunk at this point. So
also, one of my friends is starting a campaign soon, so I will be able to update you guys how that goes. Hopefully next time we record.
There we go.
And I'm playing an illusionist wizard. We're only level 1, so I don't have any illusion spells yet besides minor illusion. But I'm playing a dwarf wizard. It's gonna be fucking epic.
You're always playing a dwarf.
Why the fuck would I play anything else?
It's a good way to end this podcast. Good way to end this podcast.
Why the fuck would I play anything else?
So thank you for joining in. This is episode 3. We'll be back next week for episode 4. Everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your holiday. Don't argue with your relatives at the dinner table. Eat all the mashed potatoes you want. We'll see you next time.
All right, let's go. We out.